There we go. Good morning, folks. This is Midnight Brands coming to you with live prep on April 26th, 2023. What a day yesterday. It was really cool. We actually got to test out a new indicator we've been playing around with and ignored all the signals and left, I don't know, 45 points on the table, picking up a few scraps along the way in various places, but it was pretty cool. There was a video by SMB a little while back that they talked about, potential ways to identify trend days, and as they were talking about things, it was kind of like, okay, I can't find that indicator, specifically one called vol-D ratio, and so just went ahead and built it. And it was really clear from the get-go yesterday that ES in particular, like cumulative tick was negative, never let up, but the vol-D ratio started off at like negative 4.5, 5, something like that, and just continued on throughout the entirety of the day. So it was pretty clear. We took some shorts early in the morning, right at open, and we closed way too early. But the positive is that indicator really gave us all the right clues, and we just got shaken out. And so still ended up positive for the day. Still ended up looking nice, but could have been a much bigger and better day had we stuck to our premise. In any event, just getting one last thing set up here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so this morning, really just have a little bit of econ stuff. It's really just this durable goods stuff. The mortgage application data, I don't think is going to have any major impact on what happens at all here today. So it is really going to be about the durable goods. There's the weekly DOE inventory and the trade balance and treasury stuff. But I think the durable goods, I don't know that it can't really be a whole lot of stuff, but it's something. Right at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Moving along here, this is, reset that for us. Maybe scale down just a tad. Whew. Okay, so that is SVXY we're going to look at here. And it is presently at 65. So it definitely came back down to kind of the closing price last night. It's around 65, 62. Which is why kind of we picked up and added that weekly trend guide fill 4 and gap fill into the prep. But overall, I'd say it's pretty straightforward. You've got your 20-day weekly trend guide 3. Right beneath there, you have the swing A VWAP and day anchored VWAP, really just right between, sandwiched between those two zones there. Moving up, you've got your kind of weekly trend guide 2, trend strength reference point, and your annual pivot point, with swing A VWAP coming in to join from Monday's high. Didn't include weekly pivot point. It is there. It didn't really get it. Like, you could say this dick for ticked it and kind of got a reaction, but it just didn't feel like much to us, candidly, and so we didn't include it. Similar, the trend guide 6. I mean, it's there, but it's by itself, so just didn't include that one there. In general, though, I mean, it's pretty straightforward where things are at. After spending several days kind of pushing the upside of the 20-day symmetrical extreme, it's catching up, it's resetting there. Wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a reset in the 50 as we continue kind of pulling back here this morning, as you'll see when we get to the indices. And in general, not bad in terms of the zones there. Really just kind of be watching this first one down here that we're already coming into at that trend guide 4, swing anchored VWAP, and then day anchored VWAP right there too. Moving on next to VIX. VIX is up around Did I skip the VIX? I must have skipped clicking on VIX. 1 second. There we go. Okay, VIX is up around, kind of back near its close. It's up near 1940 at the moment. So a handful of zones around it. With today, it's definitely got more in there, which I don't really care for. It just makes it kind of noisy when there are that many. But just given the range expansion and whatnot, I mean, hell, normally we don't ever track the weekly trend guide 6-7 type of stuff, but just given that rapid expansion yesterday versus the last several weeks, you can see, right, the 20-day was just a buck, and 10-day, 5-day, and on Mondays ADRs, you know, were nothing, right? They weren't even $1 themselves. So yesterday being 2.5 caused a massive range expansion, which then, you know, puts really kind of all, given that kind of $1 range, you know, as soon as you expand out to 2, now you're kind of going to end up seeing all of the major points that are there. So really, they're kind of straightforward. The one piece that I would watch for is how do we interact with the 50 here today. So right, there we go, that's better. So yesterday, you know, we came up, rejected, tick for ticked, and then we came right into it at the close with that pull that we saw kind of late day into the close. Everybody was expecting a rally, and we just continued to dump there into some of those bigger levels. And so what do we do there now? Right at the moment, we are down at, like I said, around 1940, give or take. So you could pull down this trend guide 4 and include this. It's up to you. It is interesting that at that trend guide 4, we also have the tier 2 end of week cheat, which again kind of tick for tick that yesterday at both that trend guide 4 and that tier 2 end of week cheat. So pretty clean. Moving on to SPY. Took out that March 24th swing and daily anchor VWAP and kind of just kept on moving. Right now we're at 406.21, so a little bit up from where we closed yesterday, but not by much. So it really does keep this, you know, weekly photo ADRs and the tier 1 end of week cheat stuff in play here, which is this this first zone really that we're at here now. So that would be this zone 3, supply and demand high, and the weekly photo ADR, and then we dragged it down just a touch more to grab that tier 1 end of week cheat. Below that is a bigger zone that we combined here actually to be the trend guide reversal, 50-day MA, supply and demand. You got your structure at 404.57, but I would really be watching more for that lower one. With you know, you also have the weekly trend guide in there, like I said, weekly full tier 1 daily cheats there, the weekly full ADR, and there's a bunch of stuff in this bigger area here. The other interesting one is you got this gap, and so that you know, you got that kind of nice. So do you come down and retest right there and then push back up off of that and not even get to trend guide there? So it'll be really interesting to see kind of how that plays out. Obviously, photo and full ADRs here from a daily perspective are going to move around based upon what and how we're trending. So these may end up staying right there. They may not. We'll just see. Like I said, right now we're at 406.40, so up a little bit from where we closed, but nothing of any significance. And the last one down here, this would be really kind of moving down. This would be MPP in the tier 2 daily cheat, which would be about another $6. And yesterday was 5, so I'm definitely not out of the question on that one. What else was there? Oh, on this one here, you can see we kind of just combined these two. Is that, yeah, we pulled that in here and combined this quarterly stuff with this one here. There is this daily and weekly anchor VWAP right at that spot there, so definitely something to keep an eye on there. Moving along, I'm going to look at the cues, and I'm going to get it for one quick second and start some coffee, folks. Alright, so with that, we got the cues here. So really was very, very clean on the cues, and at the moment on the cues we're trading 312.50. So that earnings from Microsoft and Google, I would have loved to have seen how many times. I didn't pay any attention, didn't care, but how many times do they actually say AI? Somebody I followed said like 20 minutes in they were taking a sip every time they'd had of Coke, Dr. Pepper, whatever. Every time Google said AI, and he'd already was on his second can. So, anywho, the cues look pretty clean. Marked this. What is this? Trend guide, daily trend guide, and weekly trend guide one as an inside, just giving kind of what and how we traded yesterday. I mean, it's just right there in that same spot, along with the trend strength, kind of both being inside pieces. What else do we have here? So we marked this zone here is combining the two. So you get weekly trend guide 2, April's lows, as well as MPP, gap fill, and the tier 1 end of week cheat. So you got a bunch of stuff right here that we marked in this zone. We're obviously pushed way up above it at the moment because we're up at 312. So we're just in between the thick of these two things. Should have actually added a VWAP there. Let's just look at that real quick, since we're thinking about it and talking about it. I do this though because I don't want to wait for everything to move around and change. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay. Nothing else really to see on that one. We're just kind of trying to check stuff there. So that other swing VWAP from this guy right here is right about trend strength, and then the one from this high looks like that was probably Friday. Is still up higher. So in any event, the bigger zone we have down here, and I would actually drag this down and include this gap fill. Looking back at it, is the bigger zone, which is going to be that trend guide, annual pivot, weekly full pieces there. And in reality, we should actually include this. I didn't include it last night because I wasn't sure, candidly, how we were going to react to the earnings and everything else. So take that up just a tad higher to grab your weekly trend guide 3 there. And then if we decide to keep failing, we'd grab whatever's here at structure at the 302 and weekly trend guide 4. And obviously you've got the December 28th daily anchor VWAP continuing to rise up there. But to me, like, this is a really massive, major zone here. If we don't hold this, then we're definitely going to come down and see the weekly trend guide 3, and there's A lot of open space between those two. So have to watch and see how we play out and interact with this one here. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna get to. Sorry about that. We're gonna move over to ES. ES pulled a little bit more from where we took this screenshot and stuff here. It dipped into that lower weekly photo zone, the tier 1 into week cheat, the gap fill and stuff there. Set a little bit of a lower low, actually just about tagged the weekly photo, and definitely came into this block down here. So you can see the the highs kind of from yesterday, came down and off that swing VWAP and really kind of put a lid on this stuff overnight with EU open and type of stuff, and so it really kind of put a damper on any kind of significant move back there. And with coming into this zone, like, we're really stopping stuff. So that's the first one. Gonna keep an eye out for there. You got your gap fill, you got a naked VA in there. They're both from yesterday, so not as interesting, but they're definitely there. The bigger piece would be down here where you got an NVPOC, gap fill, tier 1 daily cheat, 50-day trend guide reversal, photo ADRs, weekly trend guide 3, and you have a swing anchor VWAP from a date that I can't tell, but I'm going to guess is probably like March. That's the 15th, and it's probably one of these, like March 20th or something like that over here. So that's a pretty good size one. Underneath that, we end up with another really good thick zone. So you got inner pivot, quarterly, the lower edge weekly anchored VWAP, which again, the daily is right about in that same area. Gap fill from the 29th. And the tier 2 daily cheat, there's also a naked VA right in that block, and we dragged it down just a touch in order to grab the supply and demand zone. Fail that, and then we end up going down to the bigger end VPOC, monthly pivot, weekly trend guide 4, and naked VA there, along with the lower edge of supply and demand. So there's not a lot of space really between those two, so it's one you got to be careful if you're trying to scale across. To really just how you be careful on what and how you scale across something like that. Fail that, and we are in for some bigger hurt stuff there. There is the tier 3 daily cheat, tier 2 end of week cheat in between those. But at that point, like, we would start prepping and watching for that lower 4010, 4000 level, which would be a massive move for today. We've already traded now 27 points, so that would put us at something like 120 on the day. And so we'll see kind of what and how Microsoft and Google react. If Microsoft gives it all back, like, man, that could get really dicey. At the moment, Microsoft's up at 296, so it's given back a little bit. I think it got pushed a little bit above 300 last night, from what I was seeing, and I don't have Google on the screen to see it off the top of my head. Upside wise, you do have, so if we do decide to break out of that trend strength, weekly trend guide 2 and swing a VWAP there, then we've got the other piece that we marked as inside because it had the IB low actually from yesterday, the 20-day EMA, and your weekly trend guide 1 combo high volume node. I mean, this is kind of a big area, but it's inside of yesterday's stuff too, right? We're just at yesterday's IB low. So above that, you get really just a kind of minuscule, not much to worry about type of thing there. You do have this kind of falling trend line and whatnot. So yeah, above that, you got a combo point of control. Again, if you haven't seen that, go take a look at the post I made on this weekend that was sharing some of my thoughts around point of controls and how I might aggregate some of that. Up above that, if we decide to push back up there, it'd be about an 80-point move on the day. Take that back, it would be maybe about 60 because we've already traded 30 points, give or take. And so push all the way back up here, it'd be about 60 points, 70 points. So we get the weekly pivots, gap fill, NV POC, full ADRs, tier 2 daily cheat, which yesterday we came damn close. I think we actually did touch the tier 3. Yeah, we touched tier 3 daily cheats yesterday. And I think we pushed right back off of it, to the tick, pretty much. So not a whole lot else to say here, really, off of these. I will note though, continues to be interesting how this 4180, I mean, just continues to be the wall of everything for what happens with ES. Like, it just cannot, for the life of it, wants to get above there. And so we're pushing back into the range that we've seen us be in. And if we come back over to SPY here, that is not SPY. Like this box here, this is what I was looking for. So like 417, 418 area. But this box here is what we've been in. Generally speaking, poke a little bit below there a few days, poke a little bit above for a few days. We are back inside of this penalty box of about 30 points on SPY, and we're doing the same thing really again over here for ES, is kind of pushing back into that box that we've generally been trading in. It's had a wider range with the 3500 to that 4180, but it's just been stuck in this area for the better part of a year plus now. So in any event, enough pontificating. Moving on to NQ. Got a lot more zones here on NQ and really a much bigger push given how we traded off of that Microsoft and Google news last night. Did note and found it very interesting as I was flipping through and looking at stuff here, is kind of looking back to end of March, what and how things were lined up with this annual pivot zone here. You can see like it is a pretty big one there with that annual pivot, the tier 2 daily cheat. There is a naked VA which actually ties all the way back to that March 28th day. But you get these two bigger zones down here. If we decide to come back down, again, if Microsoft starts to give up any of this stuff here, and it's already come, 50 cents now, that would be a massive, but, and hell, we may not even have gone down far enough in terms of capturing everything here, because that's just a 200-point move. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what and how we do stuff there. But these are kind of the two bigger zones on the low side, which would be outside of even the weekly full ADRs. Obviously, we have the daily trend guide reversals forward. So yeah, daily trend guide reversal there. Yeah, 50-day EMA in a full ADRs and gap filler in there. Sorry, I was just looking at something else. Where we stopped yesterday was a massive zone. I mean, that was really a big push there, and really good signal. We only caught a little bit personally of ourselves there because we, I don't like playing earnings anymore these days, and came into that kind of nice pop. We took it off, I think, when it popped like 20-40 points immediately off the earnings, and just like took it off, because I mean it could have just as easily reversed 100 as opposed to having reversed that 100 plus that it went almost 200 overnight. In any event, not sure what else to add here other than I did add this. I guess it was somewhere else I added that. But there's this nice little div here where we've had this overnight structure. It's also ends up being the 20-day EMA and the combo high volume node there. In fact, it's high volume node 3, so it's this third highest volume node outside of point of control. Going back a ways. Yeah, don't know what else I'm going to add on that one. It's pretty clear on the levels there, I think, for that. RTY. Handful of different things in here. It's definitely been in trouble. Where's RTY even now? RTY now poked just below its, yeah, it poked just a little bit below this block here off of the trend guide reversal, weekly trend guide reversal 3, gap fill, naked VA from yesterday's supply and demand. So it is definitely continuing to kind of push down. If we fail this zone, then I mean there's potentially a little bit of a div there with the tier 1 daily cheat, but I'm not going to attach much weight there. I'll definitely be watching this 1720-ish level, but I would say I'd probably watch this full ADR area much more, because you've got kind of where this recent structure was here in the past. So maybe potentially come down here, break all kinds of hearts, tag the tier 3 daily cheats, your monthly and weekly trend guide reversals, structure from that 1696, which I'm pretty sure goes back to October. I don't have it up on this chart, but I'm pretty sure that goes back to like October or further back. And then if we do decide to break lower than that, then we have the supply and demand low, and there's an NVPOC right there. Equal opportunity upside wise, like we do have this trend strength reference point, trend guide reversal, and the swing AV WAP from the highs yesterday. And above that, we've got our photo ADRs, the tier 1 daily cheat, NVPOC, combo high volume node. Actually, that's not an NVPOC. Yes, it is. That is an NVPOC. I'm not sure from which day. That is an NVPOC, I'm pretty sure. Could be the naked VA, can't tell, doesn't matter. It's a piece of information in that zone. And above that, you end up with the weekly trend guide reversal 1, supply and demand, and a combo high volume node with full ADRs up even higher, but I don't think that stuff's possible. YM. YM is actually, both RTY and YM just are starting to get a push here. Actually, they all are, now that I look over at it. Nice good size push ES there off of that lower low. Looks like it's going to go up and tag EDL there in just a second and get into its trend strength reference point zone. NQ's got a long ways to go till it hits it. In any event, YM here, so it was just poking into this zone here, really close to that daily anchored VWAP off of March 24th there. Trend guide reversal, weekly photo ADRs, etc. If we fail that, then below you end up with 50-day EMA, weekly trend guide 3, and your tier 1 daily cheat. Just a small area beneath there. It looks smaller than it actually is. It's a little bit wider just because of how scrunched up we made the chart here. But you have your full ADRs. Weekly full is just right beneath there with an NVPOC going back to March 31st. So would keep an eye out on that if you're trying to trade YM, is watch for that kind of weekly full and the NVPOC there. And then again, if we decide to keep going, then noted some other deeper zones here with weekly trend guide 4, quarterly pivots, naked VA, and then you also would have the supply and demand low there. You can see these other zones we marked here. I think these would start getting out of the question because you'd be down 700-800 some points there at that point. So anywho, above, you got right in the middle of everything yesterday. Definitely have some structure back looking left here through there at trend guide and trend strength. I would be pretty willing to bet that you're going to end up with the swing AV WAP, kind of putting cap here, just like it did on ES, is putting a cap right there at that spot there. And so above there, you get your combo point of control, photo ADRs, trend guide, etc. I'm going to move on here to CL and GC. CL, what, and like so clean and simple on this one here. And at the moment, CL continued to dump since we took this picture. It did, yeah, it is dumping more there, which is kind of nice. I could have sworn I turned on the NV Pox and Naked VAs there. That's weird. Okay, so in any event, the March 20th daily anchor VWAP is starting to get close to that lower edge of the zone there, so I definitely want to keep an eye on this here. Make sure I got my stuff set for it. Damn, and gold came into that sweet spot too. Alright, we're gonna have to see what we do here with this prep, just because I keep missing things in the morning. In any event, CL, really good spot here. We're fooling with the Naked VA from just the other day, but you got your March 20th daily anchor VWAP and trend guide reversal zone starting to come up here with the Naked VA just on the lower edge there. Down lower at this spot here, it looks like we've got a gap fill, but there's also an NV POC in that particular area there, along with our photo ADRs, full ADRs, weekly trend guide reversal, and obviously we have the top edge of this structure piece here, where we have this gap, this big range gap. And we've just been filling this in here because there's absolutely no volume in there, obviously with this big gap there. Also just noticing too, like the combo point of control moved down a little bit, I think from the beginning of this week when we started this, and rejecting kind of off of that at the moment. In any event, we fail all those kind of things, we'll be pushing down, and maybe we should have gone lower and looking up and stuff, but we just really stopped it there with quarterly pivot, weekly photo ADR at that spot. Above here, this is what I was thinking about before, is this zone right between trend strength to include the 20-day EMA. So you can see, like, we try to graph the overnight high and 20-day EMA. A little bit of structure here looking left at some of this. And then above there, you end up with your gap fill, trend guide, and then you have a swing anchor VWAP coming in to join that zone. So it's CL and then GC, and then we're going to wrap here. Got these down to about half an hour. Again, we'll see if we keep this at 6 or if we move it back. Didn't like yesterday starting as late as we did because it put other things behind schedule. So, in any event, GC here. Good kind of divish area if we decide to come back this way, but we did a pull from this block here, came down and just nailed the the 20-day and stuff in here. And I need to double check. I think that swing anchor view up I have in that chart is toast. Yeah, that's garbage. That's what I thought. I thought that was fishy. But there is a swing AV WAP from on the 15-minute that we came in and tagged, and we're able to hold the close above, and we're trying to push now. So we came in, dick for tick, the weekly pivots. So we're really just kind of right into this zone here now and tagging it. But we did kind of fail off of this area here. Poked a little bit higher when I grabbed this screenshot, and then just big pull down, 10 plus points into this zone here. May end up being a head fake. We'll just have to wait and see. In any event, you got that zone beneath there. You got Tier 1 Daily Cheat, Daily Trend Guide, Combo High Volume Node underneath the March 13th. Swing Anchor VWAP, which we did a nice job of playing with here over the last few days. Went back to the 19th, the 21st. Yesterday we just decided to play footsie with it. And then underneath there we noted this extra zone, weekly trend guide, gap fill structure, that 1975 level. Beneath we do have this March 7th swing A VWAP, which was probably going to be really close since that was at 10 o'clock at night. Going to be really close with the March 8th daily anchored VWAP. But first we got to see what and how we're going to interact with. We're going to interact again with the March 13th daily anchor VWAP, swing anchor VWAP here. So underneath all those, this is really just by itself here. We noted it, just the weekly photo that would really start pushing things. So we'll see how we interact there at that spot. And folks, that is all she wrote. I don't remember what movie that was from. I think that was like Angela Lansbury, Murder, She Wrote or something. In any event, hope everybody's having a good one, and we will catch you all later. Thanks. Bye now.